Boom.
Yay! Congratulations.
And that's it. I've upgraded in the world of technology.
I'll tell you, learn something new every day.
I think I've done. Someone's used my phone and gone live to film
Right.
a fight, but apart from that, no.
Well, I'm
Technology.
honoured. We're
There you
absolutely
go.
honoured.
There you go. You
So
popped my
listen,
live, Terry.
there we go. There we go. Listen, first things first, how are you getting on in quarantine?
Um, Same as everybody else, really. I'm actually, if people know me, I'm always busy, and like
Yeah.
I kind of like always make myself busy no matter what. Anyway, so even though I'm at the house, it's one of those ones where I'm always busy outside of normal life. When I get back to my house, sometimes I just want to relax and not do. I've got to play with the kids and stuff like that, and not do much. But now I'm here all the time. There's just so much I need to do. I'm going up in the loft. I've got to skip out the front of my garden, out the front of my house. But I've been in the loft. I've just cleared out so much stuff. So I get a lot of house chores done.
I bet. I bet. All those times where you said, I don't have the time, I'll put that off.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
Can't do that anymore. But in terms of like obviously timing wise with the gym and everything, you know, how has that been? I mean, obviously it's really frustrating for all your students as well, not being able to train as well as yourself.
Yeah, I think it's frustrating for anybody and everyone. You know, it's very frustrating, but obviously, these measures need to be done for the safety of others. So, yeah, obviously it's frustrating. And for me, I was getting to the stage where I'm in the process of opening my own gym. Like, I'm looking for premises. I kind of think I've found a premises, but it's literally when this is all kicked off, sort of thing. So that's on hold a little bit, but hopefully, as soon as this all settles down behind the scenes, we're still doing stuff and looking to open my GB top team. Obviously, I still have my own team of fighters that I coach, but at the moment we're using other people's premises until I get my own one open.
Amazing, perfect. And so, I mean, like, what's been going on the last couple of months that we have or we haven't seen you? What have you doing? Has it just been coaching or just kind of putting your
Well,
focus into everyone
basically,
else?
so I do a lot of commentary. So I commentate for a Russian show organization called ACA, which is a fantastic organization. I mean, amazing fights. Sometimes sometimes you forget the level of fighting around the world. Some people get so
Yes.
fixated on the UFC and think that's sort of the be-all and end-all, but it's not. You know, like there's one FC obviously in Asia and in Russia regions. It's ACA, and there's some fantastic fighters over there.
Absolutely. I mean, I've always wanted to ask you, Brad, because you're someone who has been in the sport from the start. So you've seen the journey that MMA has taken. What's been the biggest change, I suppose, that you've recognized, positive and negative, in the sport?
Negative. I go negative first or positive
Yes,
first?
negative first. Yeah.
Negative first. For me, it would be social media, to be honest. You know,
Mm.
like, and it's not just the negativity within just MMA, just in general. Because I think a lot of people, I think social media is brilliant. Because look at this, what we're doing right now. It's
Yeah.
amazing when it's utilized very well. But some people use it for the wrong content. It's so easy for someone to just go jive, send the jibe at someone, and everyone wants to give their opinion to. No, I'm one of those people. If I've got nothing nice to say, I don't say it. I keep it to myself. But that's the whole thing. And I think the trash within my sport, the trash talking is just getting a bit much. And don't get me wrong, there is a time and place for it, and people love a bit of beef. But there's
Yeah.
a lot of what I call fake beef, which does my head in. You know, like. I'm real. So if I had beef with anyone, I had beef with you. You know, like.
Yeah.
So I don't like all this make believe beef. For me, I always said it throughout my career. You could be super nice to me and be real pally with me, and when we fight, I'm gonna try and knock your head off.
Yeah.
Or you could be an absolute idiot to me and we'll fight each other. I'm going to try and knock your head off. So it didn't matter. For me, it was just a job. I like everyone, really. I had never had any animosity towards the person I was fighting. So it was just my job. So if you wanted to be a bit of a dick, that's you just showing your true colours, basically, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because a lot of people, I think fighters think that the fans want to see the beef. They want to see the, you know, the build up to the fight. It's kind of like an easy, stereotypical way for a fight to kind of sell and for fans to
Yeah.
kind of get involved in it. But it's quite a big risk as well, because there's obviously certain people who are really good at doing it. But then, like you say, it can come across as fake and put on, and that kind of goes against you and why you're doing this in the first place anyway.
For me, it's like there's a time and place for it. I think some people are very good at it. People, someone like obviously Conor McGregor is probably the most famous person for doing it, and that helped him raise his stock tenfold. You know, like because when you talk a lot of like not necessarily trash, when you talk a big game, you need to back that up, right? Because you put yourself on a pedestal, and if you back it up, like Conor McGregor, I'm going to knock you out within the first 20 seconds, and he goes and does it, you're like, holy shit. And what that does, it raises your stock tremendously. But then also when you put yourself on that pedestal, there's a good chance you're going to get knocked down. So like, for me, I never really talked a lot of shit because I'm like, whoa, I don't want to, if I fall, you fall harder, you know, sort of thing. So it's a very brave thing that Conor did. But you tell with Conor, it's him. It's him. He's very charismatic. And like, I know someone else like a Kobe Covington, he's just like, he's so cringy and also triple cringe. Yeah, you know, heavy pseudo. It just doesn't come off. It doesn't come off like natural. With Conor McGregor comes off very natural. With someone like Masvidal comes off natural. They're both very witty people. If that makes sense. Yet I think you have to have some sort of form of intelligence to be good at this sort of banter kind of like chat. You know,
Absolutely.
I think Conor McGregor is very intelligent with it, but you didn't get other people who are like Henry Cejudo and people like Kobe, who are just a little bit untasteful, cringy. It's a bit cringy. Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree with
But
you there.
do you know what? I mean, it's all part of the sport, I guess, now. So it's quite fun.
It is. And then they get sort of column inches, and they get Twitter followers and different things because of that then. You know what I mean? So it kind of is full circle, but I suppose when you're looking at, you know, why you're doing what you do and what you want, the end goal, you know, does it go towards your end goal or does it take from it? That's probably like a big thing as well.
True, yeah.
So what about the positives? What are the biggest positives that you've seen? Obviously, the growth of the sport is probably massive, right?
Massive, as in like obviously when I first started the sport, right? My first fight was back in 2004, I think, right? So like back then when I was fighting, especially for my weight class, you know, there was never really a legitimate career path for me. It was just like a bit of fun. It was cool, something to do, and like it was never a job. I mean, like I used to earn a teeny bit. 500. I was a cage rage British champ, and I earned £500 to fight. So I wasn't like riding home like getting the cars and the girls. It was nothing like that. You know, it was just pretty cool to do. It was pretty cool to you know, fighting as a hobby and a job. So with that, you know, it progressed and it started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Then it helped me out my weight class. Again, there was a big show called the WEC over in America, and my one of my best friends, Mike Thomas Brown, he was a WC world champion at 145, and that kind of helped me get in there and stuff like that. And I got into the WC, which was owned by Zuffa, which owns the UFC, but they own this WC show for the smaller weight classes, like people like me, Aldo, Uriah Faber, Mark Hominick, Pettis, Cowboy Cerrone, loads, Demetrius Johnson, you know, all these guys fought back then. Because they were such good fights, Dana White wanted those fights within the UFC. So then we moved into the UFC, still fighting the same people, obviously, but we just moved into UFC and we were just fighting in a bigger audience. And that's when I saw a big difference with, I guess, popularity, you know, people getting to know who you are, you know, because you're on TV more, people get to know you, and it became, it's quite cool. It was nice. It's nice. For me, when I was fighting, I was always that type of fighter where I like the reaction with the fans, and I like to be involved in exciting fights for the fans, and I like there's nothing more pleasing for me was something I love watching you fight. It's cool. Because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, you're an entertainer. I
Hmm.
mean, sport aside, you are in the entertainment sport, right? So you want people to watch. It's like being a comedian. If no one laughs, you're not a good comedian. So if no one claps and cheers you fighting, you're not a good fighter. So you got to be entertaining as well. And I understood that, and I had a good connection with the fans, and yeah. So that's the positive.
Is that element of wanting to be an exciting fighter and to want to give the fans the entertainment that you're saying that they're coming for? Does that add a certain pressure when you're preparing for a fight? Like, does that come into it in the lead up to the fight, or is it afterwards you reflect and you're looking back and you say, yeah, that was a good one for the fans, or it wasn't?
It would never in a lead up. Always when you fight. I feel the pressures of the week of the fight where people, I'm looking forward to your fight. I'm like, and for me, I mean, like, I pretty much was in most of my fights were pretty good. I like to think. I was in pretty, win, lose, draw. I was in back and forth fights. And a lot of that was to me, I didn't like playing it safe. As in, like, I remember a few times I've been in fights that were quite close and I'd be on top and I could have grinded around out. And I'm like, I've been on the floor for a little bit now. It's a bit boring. Let's get back to our feet and just like throw bombs. So I was very aware of that when I was fighting to make sure it was an exciting fight. And that's why, I hit a few bonuses here because of my fighting style. Yeah, so I guess for me, it was pressure because I wanted to be that person, who like people love watching fight, but that's me. Some people don't care about that. Some people, just want to get win, no matter what. They can be involved in the most boring fight. You look at someone like Adesanya, true professional. Don't get me wrong, but he didn't mind being in a boring fight with Yamero because Yamero is super dangerous. He didn't want to risk it, which makes complete sense. Makes complete sense, and I don't have any animosity towards him for doing that one bit. But as I'm what you call a fan now, I watch fights. It was like, oh man, come on. And
Yes.
like, I understand that, but for me, my mentality when I was fighting couldn't let that happen, and I probably ended up just going mental and going wild. Which, yeah, again, to my downfall was the death. Played against me a few times in a few of my fights, especially when I moved down to flyweight, because all of them were way too quick and ran away for 15 minutes, and I was chasing them the whole time. So like, for me, it maybe didn't work in my favor as well sometimes. So I get it. I get both sides.
Was there any point, just on what you spoke about there, just about now being in the position of being a fan, watching the sport, was there a time period where maybe you weren't a fan of the sport, as in you were so involved in it, like being in the sport, being a professional fighter, that you don't really get the time to enjoy the sport or to see it for what it is? And is it now that you have more time, you're getting to appreciate it in new ways or different ways?
That's actually, I mean, like, that's actually quite a good question because, to be honest, I've never been a fan of any sport to
Wow.
watch. I just wanted to participate in every sport. For me, I love football. Could I watch football? Yes, I did. I wanted to play football. Cricket. I loved cricket when I was growing up. I hate watching cricket. I want to play cricket. So I'd
Yeah.
always wanted to participate in every sport. I did. Watching it wasn't fun for me. I was such a sportsman. Any sport that's going, I wanted to do. Basketball, I wanted to play. I didn't watch it. I didn't do any of the watching. I just always wanted to participate. But now, obviously, also because it's a little bit of my job as well, I guess I need to stay in tune with the sport of watching. As a coach now, I watch more fights than I ever have done. And I still haven't watched most of my fights. I'll probably go back on UFC Fight Pass and watch my fights for the first time. I don't watch my fights. But now I watch a lot of fights because I'm watching potential opponents from my
Yes.
guy. So now I do watch a lot more fights. Also, I study a lot, obviously, because I say I commentate for ACA. So when I'm commentating for ACA, I'll watch their fights, previous fights, to see what sort of stars it was. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to the fight. So I would definitely watch way more fights now than I did. When I was competing myself, all I did was train and play World of Warcraft. Yeah. Computer games, not just World of Warcraft, just computer games.
So does that mean then that after every fight, like you chose not to watch back, whether win or lose, you chose not to watch them back because was it a case that they were kind of in the past, or the memory
Yeah,
of it was too tough, or what was the reason behind not watching them back?
because I engrossed myself so much within fighting.
Mm-hmm.
After I fight, I just want to relax my mind. You know, like obviously every fight I've had, I've watched it straight after, probably the next day or something. I watch every fight
Yeah.
back, but not to study it in memory, just to see what happened or that sort of thing. Because obviously when you compete yourself, you don't remember everything. But I haven't never, like say now, gone back and watched fights. You know, I have some of my students. You know, now we're in this lockdown. Say, hey, if you want something to go back and watch some of my fights on Fight Pass. And some of them like put stuff up on Twitter and stuff like that, and they're watching. So I see clips of my fights back, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can remember that fight. That was a good fight. And there's been a few. I've been involved, like I say, a few really good fights that stand out to me. You know, so and they're the ones where not one-sided. They're the ones that are actually battles where we beat each other up. They're the ones I used to like.
Do you have a favorite? If you look back, is there a favorite fight?
I have eras. I really like my era in the WEC. I had 4 fights within the WEC, and every fight was a good fight. You know, every fight. The first fight won by proving necktie. Second fight, I had a really good fight with Demetrius Johnson. The third fight, I had a really close fight with Scott Jorgensen. Lost that by a split decision. And then my fourth fight, I fought a guy called Ivan Menjivar, and that was an absolute cracking fight. So all those fights are great. So I loved all those sort of fights. And then moving on into the UFC, I mean, like a few of my fights, early fights in the UFC were really good as well. And when it kind of started going downhill for me was when I went down to flyweight, where the styles of fights didn't really suit me because everyone was running away, and I'm like, oh my god, and I was obviously a lot slower than these flyweights, so I found it hard to catch them. So that's when it kind of went down. And when I first started in the UFC, I think in 5 fights I hit 4 bonuses straight away. You know, so like I was in those sort of fights, and then I moved down a weight class, and I didn't never hit a bonus again.
Is there a certain amount of pride when you look at your career in terms of, you know, not only what you've achieved, but for I suppose being one of the first guys and to be in with, especially with the UFC when they were growing, and you know, was there a moment of, you know, I feel like we're involved in something really special here? So when you look back on that, it obviously fills you with a massive amount of pride.
Yeah, I of course I have a lot of pride, and when I look back, I have some great memories and all that sort of stuff, you know. And but you know, it's weird. It's like you're so easily forgotten within this sport, so easy, you know. Like if you're not making any noise, people just tune off. You know, like if you don't fight for a long time, people are going to forget about fighters now. You know, because there's no fights for some time. It's like, oh, the human brain is only really there to see what's in front of you. You know, like, and if you're not in front of people's minds, people just gonna forget about you. So like, unless I'm like making too much noise, I'm not one of those guys on social media that goes crazy and like posts up loads of stuff. I do have my story. I have my my daily story on my Instagram, and I had my kids on quite a bit, and they're quite fun. But yeah, again, people my age find that cool. People 16, 17 don't want to see my kids. What's going on? Yeah, like, so it always swings and roundabouts.
I hear you. What's the one thing, because obviously being a coach, it takes up a massive part of your time. And as I say, you have all your guys that are kind of hoping to get to the positions that you've been in your career. What's the main bit of advice that you give them, or do you give them advice in terms of their career, or do you just let them kind of experience it for themselves?
Well, for one, you always have to experience yourself, but for two, you know, yes, my job now is to guide them as a coach. You know, like I have to sometimes rein people in here and there and guide them in the right ways, and they can learn from my mistakes as well as my success. Things are done well, you learn. Things are done wrong, you find out from me as well. So like you learn a lot from, you get a lot from my experience. But sometimes also, I don't know everything, you know, by far.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not one of those coaches where, oh, you can't learn anything from anyone else with me. No, I always say to everyone, is like, I have my book of fighting, and my book of fighting consists of a piece from this person, a piece from that person, a piece from that person, and that. So, like, me growing up, I loved Mike Tyson. So, a lot of my
Mm-hmm.
boxing sort of style came from Mike Tyson, which has come from one of my coaches in America called Dr. Boy Gloves. He was a great striking coach. I got a lot from him, but I learned a lot from Mike Brown. He was a good friend of mine and trained him up for many years. So look, I say my book has a lot of pages from his book, you know,
Yeah.
and that's what I say. You take pages from people, and then you write your own book. So I'm just telling all my students to create their own novel sort of thing and make
Mm-hmm.
their own book. It's unique to them.
Well, it's a
But
very big.
obviously, they'll take some bits from mine and go, yep, there you go. There's a paragraph of Brad there, right there. So I showed them a lot of my stuff, but I always tell them that you need to create your own sort of book.
It's good advice, and it's always interesting. You know, when you look at coaches who maybe don't have that mindset, or who don't really feel that it's the right thing for their students to do that, to go and learn from different people, or to kind of experience things for themselves. It's almost like a confidence issue in some ways. You know, it's the coaches who are saying, go, grow, be wherever you need to be, get the learning. They're the ones who are confident in their own abilities and what they can teach.
Yeah, I mean, definitely is. I'm not one of those people that are ever going to hold on to someone, because I say there's so much knowledge out there. That, don't get me wrong, as in, like, I would say go learn things, and then I'll, you know, come back to me and we'll work on things, if that makes sense, you know, like, but yeah, I mean, like, everyone, there's so much knowledge out there, you can't contain someone to one thing. So I always say to my students, if you can go around, travel around the world a little bit while you can, because when you get to a certain level, you can't travel. You can't go bounce to different gyms, because you are people that you could potentially be fighting in different gyms, and they do have that bit of a shut door on those facilities, you know. So you have to, you know, but when you have the time and you can travel, you do so. And I have great connections with gyms all around the world, which I have, like, I will send a lot of my guys to American Top Team. I can send them to AKA in Thailand, because with Mike Swick, you know, I can send them places to go learn and stuff like that as well, which I do. But then also, then they'll come back to me, and then we'll go, cool, what did you learn? And so we'll work on this and stuff like that, you know.
Do you recognize the kind of popularity, I suppose, with fans and those that kind of really sort of championed you while you were fighting? Because you really were one of those, when we think about fan favorites, your name is definitely up there, and still there's like so much love for you online.
Yeah, I mean, like, everywhere I go, when people see me and know me, I do get a lot of love, and it still really humbles me. You know, I'm like, oh, amazing. I like it. Like I always said, I always fought for the fans. So when I ever saw someone and they give me, I had time for everyone. I've never not had time for anyone. So I'm one of those people. I'm quite open to chatting to anyone and like helping out anyone I can, sort of thing. So yeah, I like that. Sometimes it can backfire on you sometimes when you try and be too nice, but
Yeah.
you know, I'd rather be open to fans than a shut door.
How do you balance that? Because that's a really good not only bit of advice for fighters, but for people in general, you know, like how to balance, you know, giving people your time, and especially in an environment where you are a fighter, and, you know, especially with media and stuff like that, and people need, like, wanting your time, requesting your time, and, you know, sometimes you can be taken advantage of. And so in terms of when you're looking back on, like, life lessons, I suppose, how do you balance
Um,
that?
it's tricky. You learn from mistakes. Sometimes you have a lot of interviews. You do a lot of interviews. So sometimes I tell anyone who starts off, you want to do these interviews because you want to get good at doing them. And perfect example with this this conversation we've had, there's stuff that I've repeated in many interviews in the past, because you get used to answering in a certain way. And don't get me wrong, sometimes the goalposts change here and there, but the blueprint is already written down there. So it's always good to do these sort of interviews to what level they are, really, but depending when you have time. If you have time, if you don't have time, you don't have time. But if you have time, I'd always say, like, Ariel Hawani, he started somewhere. But Conor McGregor, fighting wise, he started somewhere. So everyone's got to start somewhere. So, like, and some will stick the path, and some will fade and go off into the distance and change professions, whatever. But, you know, everyone's got to start somewhere. So if I'm someone's first interview or their 1,000th interview, you know, like, if I have time, I would do it.
Did you find it hard while we're talking about the media side? Because it's always something that I feel very delicate about, especially in the terms of with fighters in the lead up to fights. And we see the kind of, you know, weigh-ins day before fights. There's that 2 or 3 days before a fight night where most of the media is done kind of across the world. It's just the way it happens. And you have a fighter who's cutting weight, who probably hasn't seen family that much for the last couple of weeks, is thinking about the fight, is trying to prepare, and it's all coming to a head. And then you've someone sticking a camera in their face, and you know, trying to get some sort of reaction or some sort of like piece for their clickbait. How did you find that?
It definitely works two ways. One, for one, some people have much more drastic weight cuts than others, and two, it all depends on the interviewer. You get an interviewer who just asks quite genuinely normal questions, and you get ones who just want to poke the bee's nest. You know, they want you to say something. So it all depends on the interview, really, to be honest. You know, but like I said, sometimes for me, it used to kill a bit of time. Yeah, for me, you know, like doing interviews and chatting to people, and when I'm chatting, I wasn't thinking about eating or drinking or something like that, and so I liked the media side of things, but it's not for everyone. Obviously, I know that.
When you look back on your career, is there anything that you would have done differently?
No. I mean, you always hindsight, but you learn from everything. I have no regrets. Would I have done things differently? No, it's weird because, like, I grew with the sport as such, you know. So, like, maybe I could have concentrated a bit more on social media, but I only do it if I enjoy it. If I don't enjoy social media, I wouldn't do it. So I do enjoy having a bit of laugh, scaring people, pantsing someone, or even jumping out on my kids. And I like having a bit of laugh, you know. So I will put that on my social media. But if I didn't like doing that, I wouldn't do it, you know. So you have to enjoy things a bit more, you know. And like I say, when I first started, there was things like MySpace, and then it moved over, then it moved over to Facebook, and then from Facebook it went. Yeah, I think Facebook. Then it went to Instagram.
Yeah.
And then it took me forever to get on Instagram. No, it was Twitter. So it was Twitter, then Instagram, and like, so, for example, I have double as many followers on Twitter, but I don't use my Twitter account. But I'm more on Instagram. And then there's Snapchat, and then now there's TikTok. It's like, fuck, Jesus Christ, you know, like, you know. See, it is tough. So I like to have one base, and like. Obviously, I had Snapchat for a little bit, and I found that quite fun because all the filters, and I still kind of mess with filters with my kids and stuff. But it's like when Instagram brought out the same sort of thing, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna do that, you know, like let me just start, you know, So like, so I like one base for my time, sort of thing.
Listen, well, you're a pro at Instagram now. You've live going, you know how to do live.
Yeah, that's it.
There's no stopping.
I'm getting better
right?
every day. Now I'm going live. I'm gonna start going live every day for, you know, when I go for a shit or something.
Absolutely. Listen, not to keep you too much longer, so I'm really grateful for your time. But final question: if a kid was to walk into your gym in the morning and say, "Brad, I want you to be my coach. I want to start training."
First thing I say is 2 meters. I say 2 meters, mate, and my gym's shut at the moment because of the corona. But go on, sorry.
This is pre-coronavirus or post-corona war.
Okay.
And they come in and they say to you, "I want to be a professional fighter. I want to start training MMA." What do you say to them?
brilliant. You come to the right place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
What
for me,
advice do you give to a young kid that wants to follow in your path, be a professional fighter?
set small, achievable goals. You know, obviously with a long-term goal, everyone wants to be a world champion and so on and so forth. But you have to set small, achievable goals. Like for me, when I was fighting, there wasn't the UFC sites whatsoever. It wasn't even like didn't even have my weight classes. So what I did, I would just first of all I wanted to compete, then I wanted to win, I wanted to do that, then I wanted to be the best in the UK, I achieved that. Then I wanted to be the best in Europe, I achieved that. Then I wanted to get signed to a big organization. I got signed to the WEC. Then I wanted to be top 10 in the world, got to that. Then I moved from WC into the UFC. Then I wanted to be top 5. Got to top 5, and then obviously when I'm there, I mean, reaching grasp, I wanted to try and be number 1 in the world, and I'd never achieved that. But it wasn't for the one to try, and that's what I say to everyone. But when I first walked in the gym, of course you got to have this end goal. I want to be a world champion. Great, but how are you going to get there? You know, it's a long road there, and sometimes the road's not a straight line. It's to the side, it's down, it's back. You take some downfalls, you have some bad injuries, you have different stuff. As in, for me, consistency is the biggest thing for anyone within this sport and in life in general. You've got to be consistent to anything you do to succeed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that's
anyone walks in my gym, if for one, obviously, it's not only physical attributes, you get that, but it's mental. You know, you got to have the right mindset to succeed. You see so many talented people who are just gifted. When you have someone who's really gifted, and sometimes you don't have that work ethic because it's too easy for them. So you need to try and get someone who, like a Conor McGregor, who is gifted, but he also has that work ethic. You know, and that's how you get world champions.
I hear you. But absolute last question, and then I'm going to let you go. What's the best bit of advice that you've ever been given?
Don't eat yellow snow.
It's a good one.
Yeah, and don't. I've tried it. It's not nice.
Well, listen, thank you so much. I'm really appreciative of your time tonight. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
And hopefully the next time we see each other, it won't be across two screens. We can do a proper interview.
Of course.
Post coronavirus.
No worries. 2 meters at least.
Definitely 2 meters. Gloves. Have face mask. The last. Yeah. See you later, Brad. Thanks so much.
Adios.
Take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe to Fight Connect TV on Instagram, Facebook, and